Nigerians, this man don set internet on fire. See, for the sake of peace, make una no schedule dey go where President Tinubu dey or any APC supporter, because this man don expose a lot for inside this particular video. But na wetin e come tell Oshomole for im own face for inside this video, and wetin e also tell Peter Obi for inside this video, na wetin shock me. Make una lis ten to this interesting interview. This man just speak my mind. Make una hear im own reaction for so many questions wey dey ask am for inside this particular video, wey one journalist dey ask am, so many questions wey one journalist dey ask am about the happenings in this country. And make una share the video.
Almost every year, every other year, a house in Abuja, Benin, what do you call it? Medical bills paid for you and your 4 kids for a state like that. But Obi didn't do that. Obi felt, I don't need these things because the normal pension and gratuity for me is enough. Now, you have these same people in the Senate still collecting salaries and collecting gratuity. But Obi never did. This was the same Obi. He was given a plot of land in Abuja. It's entitlement. Anyway, as a governor, he refused it. He said no. You see, and you can go on counting. Now, the questions you ask yourself, this is not a happenstance. This must be this man's characteristics. This must be this man's mannerism. This must be this man's idiosyncrasies. You know? So, and that is what we need in Nigeria today. Someone who can be exemplary in conduct. That is one of my biggest challenge with the Tinubu administration. You know, that you ask people to tighten their belt, but you guys are not. But Obi will first of all tighten his belt. You will see that it's tight. You have no choice. It's like, I give you an example. When Tunde Idiagbo and Buhari were, you know, Nigerians were obeying the rules now, as chaotic as Lagos then. But we're queuing up anywhere they go. Because, by example, now, but when you discover, it's like when Buhari came as a civilian president, do you know that some businessmen, I know of 2, who were trying to relocate outside Nigeria, that this man is going to come after them. You know, he's going to fight corruption, he's going to do that, you know? But when they found out that 6 months, he was even incapable of forming a government, of constituting a federal executive council, they discovered that, this man has nothing to offer. He's clueless. People were stealing right, left, and center. They all came back. They went back to business as usual. What's the point I'm making? If you are exemplary, the people will follow. That's why I believe that we have a problem in Nigeria today, both that of followership and leadership. But I believe that the leadership holds the key. Because if you are exemplary in conduct, the people have no choice but to queue and follow.
Let's have your take on this scandal rocking the presidency that is almost making Nigeria a laughingstock before the global community, about a fake agency, about a man who is a safe-styled director general. They now call him founder of an agency of government. Yet, we've also had denials from those in government contradicting themselves. The accountant general said there was no account opened at the CBN. The CBN came before the House committee and said, we have 2 accounts opened for him, for domiciliary account, pounds, dollars, even though there are no inflows yet. In all of this, has an official office at the Federal Secretariat. The head of service says, well, this office was not allocated to him personally, but to the SGF. So we should ask, yet all these people involved, fingered, named, are still sitting pretty in the office. But the young man is in police custody, and the ICPC have quizzed him yesterday, and they have 30 days to wrap up their investigation according to the president directive. What do you make of all of this?
First, when you say it's capable of making Nigeria a laughing stock, it has made Nigeria a laughing stock already. Not that it's, I mean, come on, who takes you seriously when you begin to pander and deflect on the issues of responsibility and you say, oh, it is it is that. Look, even as clueless as Buhari, even as incompetent as Buhari, he fired his secretary of government over grass cutting. You know? What is so special in Femi Gbajabiamila still retaining that office when a matter is being investigated that concerns his involvement and the involvement of his office? I mean, Gbajabiamila is a lawyer, you should know. You can't sit as an accuser and a judge in your own case. If the government is here, the first things are for him to step aside. And as the revelations are coming up now, maybe you ask the SGF, you ask him questions. If he's not able to answer, they should step aside, because you are saying the HOS is saying that the office was given to the SGF. So probably it's the SGF that allocated the office to the young man. So these are people by now, even on self-honor, they should even step aside. Why do you want yourself and your family name to be so ridiculed? You know, the truth is that whatever is going on now, with the desperation to cover up, I believe personally, and I suspect, that it has the imprimatur of the presidency. Yes, because if it doesn't, some hairs would have rolled by now.
There are those who argue that will the president sack everybody because of just mere allegation?
Who are everybody? Yes, when an allegation is made, we are not saying sack. Why don't you ask your chief of staff to step aside for proper investigation? Because now he has the capacity and capability and resources to interfere with the investigation. It's even possible that those who are doing investigation report to his office, because you can't see the president without seeing him. That's what we are saying. Nobody is even saying outright sack, because it will be unfair when you have not found a man guilty of something, you punish him outright. Step aside, my friend, for proper investigation, so that you don't interfere with the investigation, because you can use the paraphernalia of your office to influence investigation.
How many people would the president suspend? Because this is politics.
If you need to suspend everybody, if you even need to suspend himself, let him suspend himself. Yes, critical situations require critical solutions. What are we talking about? Have people not been dissolving cabinets? So what is wrong with that? People dissolve cabinet. So the people, when they ask this woman to step aside, Betty Edu, so what was special in that? Why that? Why? Till today, we have not heard the product of the investigation into Betty Edu, because it's not just to step aside. There are consequences for actions. If you have a corrupt action or a corrupt practice, people must pay the price. There are consequences for it. But today, Betty Edu is probably living a luxurious life somewhere, you know, but just step aside. It's just like what happens before. I don't know whether it's still happening now. People, EFCC will still will cease bidding, through a self-official in the court. These same people go and buy the assets. Either directly or through process. So what are we talking about? So it's possible you just suspend somebody and the person is still enjoying all the perks of the office, you know, even more. Because this time now there's even no official restraint. So I'm saying that if the president needs to even dissolve his cabinet for this, he should dissolve it. There are no sacred cows. If you want to fight corruption, you fight corruption. If you don't want to fight, tell us you are not fighting corruption, so that we know. And we know that this government is not fighting corruption.
But don't you also blame the opposition that the opposition is not doing enough? Because matter of fact, the opposition should have been feasting on this matter. It even took the foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs to flag this so-called fake agency now. So what's the opposition? Are they doing enough?
No, the opposition has been doing something. Or the opposition parties have been doing something.
But not
but
enough.
It is not, in my opinion too, it's not enough. You know, but there's just little you can do under this circumstance. Why do I say so? We have a peculiar situation where the press has been muzzled. Those who are not outrightly muzzled engage in self-censorship. All the security agencies take executive direction. The judiciary is comatose. As a matter of fact, I personally believe that the survival of democracy in Nigeria is in the hands of the judiciary and, to an extent, the media. Ironically, I belong to both parties or both professions. The survival of this country is in the hands of the judiciary, because sometimes I sit down and wonder whether the law I was taught in law school is still what's in the book, because you cannot really understand certain things. However, I agree with you that the opposition can do more, but these are the constraints. Take, for instance, even the media today. If not for social media, you will not. We are happy for social media for people like you guys. Which traditional broadcast organization can allow you to speak no hold bar? The first thing you hear, I'm surprised I've not heard it from you. You hear your moderator or your anchor, please, you have to, you have to tone down your language, because, you cannot prove that, or, because of NBC.
This is Niger unfiltered.
Yeah. So thank God this is unfiltered, but those ones are filtered, so. So that is it. So these are the challenges we do have in the opposition, but it's not an excuse. Because if some of us who participated in tackling military dictatorship that eventually endorsed this democracy, those tactics are still there. But we are just saying, let's give democracy a chance. So that people don't think you are a product of sour grapes, because you didn't win election, that's why you are doing all that. So you moderate yourself, but they don't moderate themselves. But let me quickly say that what we are witnessing with the APC government, starting from 2015 till now, is succinctly captured and explained by two political science scholars in Harvard University who wrote a book, Why Democracies Die. And the conclusion of that book was that democracy is not going to be period. The greatest challenge to democracy is not the armored tank or the booming guns, but it's by those who find themselves in position of authority through democratic process, who will now use their position to subvert democracy and undermine democratic institutions. That is what we are witnessing in Nigeria today, where there's no respect for judiciary, there's no respect for freedom of the press. You treat your opponent, political party opponents, the other parties, not as a legitimate opponent, but as enemies that must be crushed. So when you read that book, what is happening now is not a surprise to me, because it's just a replay of what those two scholars, explain in the book.
Before, let's begin to wind down and let's return to 2027 political permutations. Tell us about 2027 presidential elections. What are your chances? And give us a little bit of detailed analysis on how you think your party and its candidates will rout President Tinubu.
Frontally speaking, in a free and fair election, that's a caveat. In a free and fair election, NDC, come May 29, 2027, Peter Obi will be sworn in as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with Rabi Musa Kwankwaso as the vice president. However, like I just told you about the book Why Democracies Die by Levinsky and Ziblatt, the Harvard political science scholars, they've enumerated all these characteristics, that the APC government, the President Tinubu government, is displaying. Now, they are undermining the judiciary, no independence of the judiciary. Judgments are being churned out that contradicts precedents and known laws. The media is being muzzled. If you take, I don't know what, let me not quote the wrong thing, but the media rights agenda, that compiles all this list. From what they compiled, the arrest, detention, harassment of journalists is even higher in some instances than what took place under the military, under the Abacha regime. There's insecurity. The opposition parties are being undermined as it is now. We are still saying, is ADC going to be on the ballot? Is NDC, our own party, going to be on the ballot? These are machinations of the APC government. So, with that, the political situation is still in a state of flux. You can't really say what the next step will be. But what I know, that Nigerians are determined. The NDC is determined to play its role as an opposition party that would genuinely win the election and beat APC hands down come 2027 and assume the mantle of leadership and then begin to pilot this country on the path of growth and progress. But it is going to be a tough call, knowing that the APC government is desperate, is diabolic, is vicious, is abrasive, but at the end of the day, the will of the people will try.
How do you intend to do this? Will all this thing, all these very disturbing adjectives you use to qualify the party, and with the caveat, all other things being equal in the free and fair election, how do you then intend to rout the president?
Yeah, that's why I said, one, the choice is also up to Nigerians. You see, like my father used to tell us, it is better to die standing than to live on your knees. Like I said, for me as a person, if as a younger person, when I had no legacy whatsoever, I could volunteer myself, to join my other compatriots in tackling the military, either in the media and civil society. Is it at this age, when they have passed what you call the normal life expectancy for an average Nigerian, that I'm a statesman by every standard, But in Nigeria today, you see, when I want to run for elections, see that small boy, what's his problem? A statesman like me. I mean, with my age, I'm a statesman, So, but what I'm saying is that if some of us could volunteer ourselves then, I don't see any reason why we cannot do it again. And I don't see any reason why the younger generation, sure, this government should be very careful to the extent they push, because these younger guys are not as patient as we will. They are not even as deferring to cultural and traditional nuances as we are. So they should not push them beyond a certain limit. I have a son who is an obedient. I know what I do to, to say, boy, just take it easy, These young boys, these younger ones. So the president and the APC government should be very, very careful the extent they push the younger members of the society, because these are children who have lived all their lives, seeing no benefits from government.
Thank you for watching that video. So guys, before you leave, look at the down here. Do well to subscribe and also put on your notification bell so that whenever we upload any video in this great platform, you will be the first to see it. And please don't forget to drop your comment at the comment section what you think about this video, your opinion as well. See guys, This is why I'm going to end the video.